And we're in, and of course, it's going to be the same map, Twin Paddles. And how's the spawn looking now? So that's Mio at the bottom. He's going to be Munoz with Munoz, whereas at the top it's Error with Olenka, and they are right now basically having the same spawn as they were having a bit before. Even though it's slightly more turned around, as you can see, it's basically moved around the clock, so that two players in the pocket are actually going to be... Or are they in the pocket? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. In the pocket are going to be access to the water, so there's not going to be any kind of fighting for it at all. And, well, both teams are going to be having the same type of gameplay. And let's see how this time it's gonna work for the CZs, as already there is going to be attempted stealing by Mio, who is trying to steal the boar, and oh well. That actually might have been a reason for the restart. That might have been the reason for the restart, that actually CZs were stolen the boar right off, which is right now apparently going to be happening as well. Fedex is going to be receiving the boar, or is it already coming for Mio? Well, Mio is Mongol, so it will be actually a pretty good bonus for him, because of course Mongolians do have the bonus on the hunt, so that was a stolen boar. And 3 boars in the middle, between Yannick and Mio. What's actually gonna happen in here, because there's 1 boar, and definitely one of those boars is also his. There's 1 boar, and that's gonna be 1 extra. What's happening in here? 1 boar in. That's the second, third. Okay, so they are basically having 3 boars or whatnot in there. So there are going to be probably some shenanigans with the boars pretty soon. And Yannick, unfortunately, he is still fighting against the scout of Mio. And I kind of think it's actually not a bad idea, because they are trying to kill it. And through that, they will be hoping that they can actually take a bit more boars than their opponents. Right about now, they're probably gonna have to send the villager in there. I'm thinking that they already should be, as one of the villagers is already coming up from Yannick. But yeah, we are right now between Yannick and, of course, Ovenka, so those boars are going to be safe for them. And I'm not exactly sure what I was thinking about a bit before. I was just for a moment thinking that Yannick, as the orange player, is actually opponent. And I was just basically still in the last game, where Munoz was the orange player and the enemy. So yeah, just taking me a bit of time to actually get adjusted in here. And there is potential still for some stealing in the middle, but apparently nothing really all that major. Right now, Red looking around as the Nicov inside his base, and definitely curious how the battle between Yannick and Nicov is gonna go. On the water, it went for Nicov, but on the land, well, is it going to be the same? Not sure at all. Yeah, right now Blue coming with a bit of boar, and it's actually stolen 1. That's a 1 boar. Yeah, that's a stolen boar apparently. At least I'm thinking so. I'm not entirely certain, but could be. Could be 1 stolen from FedEx. FedEx is right now butchering a whole lot of goats, a whole lot of sheep. Oh, with 1 boar in there. He does have 1 behind, so I'm not really sure. It could be fair game. Could be fair game, but still, you mustn't forget that FedEx has stolen 1 boar from Skull. In which case, it would make sense that that was a stolen boar back for Skull. I think that was exactly the case. So, even though there was a nice attempt to steal the boar at the start, well, by Mio, that was nicely played. Yeah, not going to be, the Argentinians are not going to be reaping the benefits of that, because CZs did play correctly and they stole 1 back. So no advantage like that. And of course, they are going to be making use of the advantage of all the fishing boats in there. Looking who is actually going to be playing in the pocket, that's going to be Persians with purple, who is going to be playing Mongols. It's actually not a bad pocket position for the Argentinians. And for the Czechs, it's going to be Persians as well. And the other one, Ovenka as the Mayan. Yeah, well, not bad either. Otherwise, on the right is going to be Spanish against Han. Han is going to be Nicov, Spanish Yannick. So that's a bit of a difference in there, in the civilizations, of course. And on the left flank, it's going to be FedEx as the Mayan. It's going to be facing against Skull, who is Mongol. Well, curious what's gonna happen. Because, of course, Mayans will be coming for archers, and Mongol will be coming for scout cavalry. So basically, the counter to that. So it should be a bit of an advantage for Skull in there. Let's see if he's going to be able to take advantage of that fully, or if it's somehow gonna backfire. Definitely could be happening, looking how the last games went. But so far, first 3 villages are being clicked in. Skull is apparently going to be the fastest, with the 18 villages in there. And Yannick and Nicov are just going to be following close behind. So Nicov at 20 villages, Yannick at 19. Interesting, Nicov already having more villages by 1 at least. above Yannick, even though they are advancing at the same times. And that is interesting indeed. And of course, quite nice advantage right now for the red player. And disadvantage for Yannick. He's already dropping barracks. Going to be dropping what? And as a Spanish, yeah, well, not really sure. Maybe he's going to be trying to hurry up into the next age, not exactly sure. But of course, he should be expecting a raiding from Nicov. And as a Han, we could be seeing archer range from him. And I kind of thinking that we will. That makes sense to me in the setup that they are in. And those archers are going to be a good unit to make something happen in here. And Yannick moving forward with a ton of villagers into the open base of his opponent. And he has been already scouted or not? Where Nicov has just stopped. Right now, Drush coming in. Yeah, Nicov probably going to be forced to do something interesting pretty soon. The Argentinians coming up, but well, all those 5 villages and the militias on top of that, that's going to be quite easy for him to put the tower up and basically stop this archer range. It's going to be have to build somewhere else, and let's see if it's going to be fast enough. Because he needs to finish the tower and then he needs to super fast move onto the gold. Has Yannick actually scouted enough? Yes, he knows where the main gold is. He's already moving in there. Oh well, he's moving quite fast. But of course, there's going to be counter tower by the opponent. And he needs to somehow delete this and build a tower probably about here. Yeah, that seems like a pretty good spot. And hope that his opponent is not going to be fast enough, but he's already moving in with the villagers. But the villagers are not going to be strong enough because knights, the scout cavalry is going to be helping, and the militias on top of that to put a stop to this. Actually, a few more villagers are going to be interested in moving in there, but the second tower is in an interesting spot enough that, well, Nicov is going to be basically slowing him down because right now Yannick cannot afford to send the units out because they will be just absolutely annihilated by the super shooting tower. On the other side of the map, there's not really anything significant happening, just a bit of scouting and potentially raiding also by Grey, who is having a bit of a drush in there against Skull. And Skull, well, yeah, he's right now going to be dropping the stables away the scout cavalry and defending against that quite alright, I'm thinking. Shouldn't be all that much of an action in there. In the middle, this is very interesting, of course, from Ovenka, who is just basically dropped himself in the middle of Mio. Mio right now going to be denying through the tower. That's important for him and nicely played. And that could probably mean that this attempt by Ovenka might not be all that effective. But at this stage, I'm kind of thinking they are just trying everything that they can. And let's see if it's going to be sticking and if it's going to be working for them. As of course, Scout Cavalry Raiden is going to be switching from Skull's base into Muñoz's. And well, let's see if they're going to be able to get on this goal. This goal is actually quite good for Muñoz. It will be very hard for Skull to get there without any kind of archers. In the meantime, of course, the tower already dead. And it seems that actually this attempt by Yannick will have to be called a day, even though he's still continuing in there. He's quite committed. It's going to be just going all the way around. He's at least forcing off the foot in here. But yeah, he's still quite on top of the goal, which is exactly what he needs in combination with the wood for the archers. And maybe just, yeah, for the archers. Yeah, why not? Archers are going to be good counter unit to get rid of the villages. And that's exactly right now what is happening from the Han. Water, of course, is going to be for both Ovenka and Error. As Ovenka is still continuing right now, moving on Mio as much as possible. Doing a good job of that. How many fishing boats do they actually have? 6, 4 arcs. And the opponents are having 5-4 CZs. Yeah, they definitely could be doing a bit better on the water economy in there. So Muñoz, Error and Mio are all advancing into Castle Age. But yeah, Mio is right now under pretty heavy pressure. But still, it seems like that his gameplay wouldn't be all that much stopped. It's just basically delayed a bit. And he should be quite alright to basically boom as much as he can. Yeah, he doesn't even need to go through the wall. But he's wanted to, because he wants to get rid of it and wants to push forward. Right now, archers are going to be killing those guys just in time. Almost looking like that he's not going to be noticing, but he is. And let's have a look. How's it seeming with the towers in Yannick's attempt against Nicov? Not bad, even though the archers are already up. So it's going to be getting ever trickier for Yannick to actually make anything significant happen in there. Especially considering that the gold is still quite safe and the whole right part of his base is quite alright. With the tower already, or rather wall already finished in there for full protection. So I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be working for Yannick at all. It's almost looking like that it won't. that it's just going to be slow disaster developing in here for him. And a whole lot of wasted resources for more or less nothing. It's not like those actually towers do anything all that significant. Okay, the watchtower attempted. And he's right now actually playing this. He's actually playing this on the premise that actually the town center cannot shoot that. It cannot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's actually out of range just. But the archers are just getting in pretty big numbers in there. And this is kind of sneaky from Yannick. And in the end, maybe even could be working. In the meantime, on the left, there was an attempt to finish walling from FedEx, which was thwarted by Skull. Quite alright-ishly. Blacksmith coming up, some archers hidden in there. And he's just going to be waiting for the correct time to eject and be a bit more annoying to his opponent than he so far is. Of course, Muñoz in the castle is going to be producing knights, which is going to be an absolute disaster right now for Ovenka. And even though Ovenka did kill at least a few villagers of Mio in there, Mio is at just 25 villas. That's actually quite a low number. Muñoz 28, 35 for the rest. And then for CZs, it's Yannick at 29. At 29 and the rest 32, 34, 36. So the economies are slightly, ever so slightly better for CZs, but nothing really all that significant has to be said, because the water economies at the same time are a bit better. They are a bit better for the opponents, and yep. It seems like... Oh, how did this happen? Through this. Well, that's a nice sneaky build that I absolutely missed. Sorry about that, but this is absolutely glorious for Error. I was just looking where he was the whole game, but I just didn't see him due to the blue, being so close to the blue on the minimap. I just didn't notice him, but this is actually pretty great. He's being so annoying because those villagers, yeah, they are hidden in there, but they are just going to be getting converted, and with the town center, or the siege workshop, I was looking for a town center maybe, being built right in this spot. Oh man. This is going to be putting a stop to the water economy, and of course it is going to be quite annoying all across the map. So of course, even though the right side is going to be right now attempted to be raided by Mio, potentially even with his teammate Muñoz. Muñoz is right now going to be facing quite significant problems at home. At home indeed. And well, Nicov is just basically being corralled inside his base, which I think is for the best. If Yannick has to sacrifice himself to basically keep Nicov out of being dangerous, I think that's definitely well worth it. That's definitely well worth it, because so far Nicov has been single-handedly the most dangerous player of all the Argentinians. And if CZs can really make this work, not bad at all. But FedEx coming with the archers to stop the walling in here. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that this village is gonna die, and those scout cavalry guys are not going to be enough at all. How's he looking for Skull actually? Not sure. Let's switch into his point of view. It's going to be advancing into castle, just not bad. Muñoz and Error already in castle, Mio as well. Ovenka still kind of alive, being annoying to Mio. That's of course quite valuable as well. And if they can be annoying on this gold, oh, this is going to be backfiring so badly for Argentinians actually. Because of course, since they are going to be controlling the water, they are going to be controlling this gold. And even though there is still one more, that could be a spot where Ovenka could be coming for. Well, there was of course a bit of a battle, which seems to be more or less a lot of dead bodies from Ovenka mainly. Some few villages from Mio as well, but mainly would be expecting an army from Ovenka because he was having a lot more. But right now he isn't. And with the camels just now turning back, with the conversions coming up from the monks, this is very well played. Very well played by CZs, and finally they learned the lesson. So as I was saying in the last game, that they haven't learned the lesson of the back builds, the side builds and whatnot. This is a proof that they did. Nice to see. And this is right now a disaster for their opponents and might be spelling their loss in this game. Quite easily, as we did see. Similar build-up from actually Argentinians in the game number 1 and game number 3, which led to their victories. This might be coming right now for the CZs. Let's see. Because definitely Czech Republic A are the ones who are having more of the game so far. Apparently there's some bit of a pause. I'm gonna check into the game room what's happening in there. Not much. Apparently this is just a normal pause then. So we're going to be waiting for what's gonna happen. And in the meantime, for example, we can check the number of villagers right now. This is good. It's gonna get a bit different because, of course, yes, seems so, that the water is not really going to be contested for CZs. And I'm really at this point not really understanding why they're not having a bit more docks. They could be easily getting on the shoreline, dock here. Maybe they don't have all that enough resources for that, definitely could be. But the fishes are there for the boost of the economy, so I'm thinking it would be worth it. I'm really thinking that it would be worth it. But, well, nonetheless, let's go back to the main battlefield in here, with the siege works right now up, and this is going to be a huge issue for Muñoz. And Muñoz will probably need significant help very soon. And considering that Ovenka is keeping Mio busy quite well, even though he's not really that dangerous, he's at least keeping him busy, it might actually result into Ferex being forced to help. And even though he's coming forward, he's still in the feudal age, still normal archers, and they are definitely not dangerous, especially if somebody like Skull is advancing into the next age, and Skull is Mongol. So potentially a few knights from him, and the situation is going to be handled. But Nicov is getting up in numbers with the archers, finally killing those pesky villagers who were building everything in there. And well, of course, right now Yanni going to be sending even just normal spearmen with, of course, on top of that some skirmishers, hoping that he can actually be pushing forward in there. He seems to be having his base quite nicely secured. There was a bit of fighting in there because we have seen a bit of raiding before, but nothing really all that major. But Nicov is still very much contained, and it's going to be all about this back build succeeding. Not really sure right now where he's moving on. He's probably going to be switching into Mio because he's thinking that Muñoz is sufficiently killed. Muñoz at 32 villages. I think so. And right now a bit more damage could be dealt to opponent. And oh, I don't like this moving together with those slow units. I kind of think he should be sending knights ahead. Basically just to raid the gold as fast as possible. And before actually there is any kind of safe spot for Mio. And he's just wide open. He could be just killing so many villagers if he just went there without any kind of fear. But yeah, he's not going for it. And that also means that it's giving opportunity for Mio to finish with the wallings, but he's going to be a bit too late for that. Yeah, the army is already there. Conversion is going to be coming in. Maybe before that, a bit of a stone into the head. Case of dying is going to be happening. Yeah, that was attempted, not really successfully in here, but Ovenka is still very much present in here, stealing the stone, slowly but surely, hoping that he can be building a bit more towers, maybe even a castle drop, once he gets into the castle age, if that happens sometime in this game, which really might not be, even in the end, as we are looking at Yannick still kinda nicely controlling his opponent, even though Nicov is having a pretty huge army and he could be easily making life very difficult for Yannick. He's not opting for that. He is going to be opting to help his teammate, as Mio is just scouting around a bit, trying to raid, but with just 3 knights, that's not going to be anything big at all. So Siege Workshop coming up for Skull. Coming up for Skull as the archers are just at the back, and they are just going to be absolutely annihilated by not the scout cavalry, but by the knights. Yeah, these are just basically camping or rather kiting around, trying to force the archers to move a bit, but it's not really needed anymore, as they are just gonna all die for their motherland, and this is going to be problem gone for CZs, and they are going to be able to basically do what they want in the opponent's base. So Nicov coming into castle age, but close behind is Ovenka. This is very important, and together with Yannick. This is super important for them, but crossbowman, botkin arrow, and pikeman also for Ferex is kind of dangerous because he is basically let go. He needs, or rather he can do whatever he wants, and since he's Mayan, we could be expecting some pretty nasty things from him. The resources lasting longer, as he can still be camped inside his base and have enough resources for whatever he wants. Yeah, this red army is slightly bigger than yellow, so yellow needs to be a bit more careful. Take it next to the towers. Oh! Oh, scratch that, surprise. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that he was having so many archers in there, and Nicov probably didn't either. So yeah, he's right now going to be trying to basically lure the archers next to the mangonels. That's, I think, what's gonna happen in here. That's, I think, what's gonna happen, and those mangonels needs to be coming forward and get rid of those archers before they become dangerous crossbowmen. But goodbye, gold gathering for Mio. He needs to escape from this spot quite soon, as on the left is there actually clean up on the water, of course, and water economy for error. Gonna help him, but I'm slightly worried that he's actually not doing enough. Not doing enough to deal with this, with Muñoz, exactly, and Muñoz is exactly thinking that he will be getting rid of him. Yep, this is dangerous for CZs, and Slightly underestimated, I would be thinking. They should be really doing a whole lot more against Muñoz. Not only one strong push against Mio in the middle, but they should be also sending something to the back and help themselves by getting rid of Muñoz altogether and make his life basically impossible to manage. In the meantime, Skull is pushing forward quite significantly against Ferex, as he's having decent amount of knights and even some mangonels on top of that, killing a few farmers in here, and the economies are actually getting a whole lot better for CZs. CZs are right now at 59 and 53. 35 and 35 the rest of the players in there, whereas Arcs are at 32 the worst, then 50, 45 and 53. So the economies are slightly getting better. They were better for Argentinians just a moment ago, but it's not really true anymore. And we must also add the fishing boats to all that. So right now this is going to be stopped the economy of FedEx, even though he does have the crossbowman and whatnot. This is definitely not going to be enough. And Mio in absolutely terrible situation in here, as he's facing an army that he really cannot handle at all. Crossbowman from Nicov basically switched off as they stopped the town center from coming up. This is important, so Yannick is going to be forced to basically help Ovenka a bit, I'm thinking. Maybe even Skull will be forced to help him a bit, as the castle is up right now for Yannick at a crucial spot, defending both the stone and the gold. And yep, still those towers are up and keeping busy those mangonels from Nicov. And Nicov is also apparently switching into cavalry archers for better mobility and being able to help at more places at once. That's not a bad idea. Could be really working for them quite alright. But they definitely need to hurry up, because this is getting a huge, or rather becoming a huge problem. Because those knights and those mangonels, yep, that's a good army against crossbowmen. That's a really good army at that. But of course, CZs need to be careful about Nicov so that he doesn't somehow salvage the win out of this game, as he's just raiding around, trying to kill anything that he can find with all those crossbowmen. He definitely succeeded at about 4 villages, it seems like, from what I see in here, the dead bodies in there, and that's still quite a lot. Because women are in pretty decent numbers for Ovenka, but he needs to be super careful about this one. But it's just, oh, they are just healing themselves, and right now, oh well, mangonels, come on, you need to be careful. Those two are gone, but it will, a pretty nice shot right now for Mio. This was very well coordinated, nicely played indeed, and Muñoz coming with another mangonel in there, as of course the build on the left, curiously enough, he's not taking care of that. But all those mangonels are getting problematic for Ovenka. He definitely needs to go for spread formation at this point, as he cannot really afford to lose these units, because if he does, then he's basically toast. Oh, whoa! No! Error. What were you doing? You just lost your half your army, literally. 3 monks and a mangonel out of this. Oh, and he's gonna lose the rest? Yeah, that was disastrous. Absolutely disastrous for him. Oh man, where was he actually looking? I'm not sure. He was maybe clicking new units into the buildings in there, but that was horrible. That was really bad actually for the attempts at making something significant happen in that Mio's base. That could actually allow him to come back, because of course Ovenka had to retreat. He doesn't have enough army anymore in there, and there is a significant help of Green into actually Grey's base, and Grey has been able to somehow at least defend himself, but not really all that fully, because most of the army from Skull just went somewhere else. He's probably going to be trying to catch the army from Nicov. And from Ferex as well. Yeah, he's just chasing after the army, and unfortunately for Ferex, he doesn't have any choke points in there. And that's potentially one in the corner in there. That is the one in here. On the left side, that could have been a pretty nice one. But yeah, he didn't find it in time, and that means that all the army from Ferex is just going to be absolutely annihilated. And it's going to be a pretty good chance right now for Ovenka to make something significant happen in that. He's trying to drop a castle, which should be succeeding, because there's not enough attention paid by Argentinians. And where's the whole army? Right now in Green's base, with some blue knights finally in there as well, and a lot of sheets. A lot of siege in there on top of that, with some rams, but Ovenka, oh, you're running into the trap. Careful. Yeah. Oh, for a moment I was slightly worried, just slightly worried that the mangonel might shoot, but he didn't, so nicely played. Castle dropped, and that means pretty good control and very good, rather very bad options right now for Argentinians to actually somehow guard that moment. And with this army, with those knights, with the siege and the crossbowmen on top of that, this seems like exactly the moment where Muñoz will be tapping out, because this is getting a pretty impossible situation for him, especially considering that Skull is right now coming back after annihilated after having annihilated all the army from FedEx, and it's going to be killing his economy altogether, dropping a castle right in there, and with the mangonel being in Skull's colors. Oh, nicely shooting in there. It's going to be a GG call, and CZs yet again are going to be able to pull off a victory, as on the right side there was slow advance by Yannick, and the opponent, yeah, he was just basically concerned with dealing with all the army that was raiding in there, trying to defend more than anything, and making sure that Nicov is not going to be mounting any kind of significant comeback into the game, and he didn't. Yannick did a good job with controlling the most dangerous player of Argentinians, and this back build, third game of 4, decided by a side or back build. Yep, this is what you do if you want to win. Simply surprise your opponent, and this was one hell of a surprise, and it worked gloriously. And apparently at the very end, yeah, that didn't really matter. That was because the GGs were already called, and Ovenka just already stopped playing. But that was one apparently Hail Mary from Muñoz's mangonel into some shot in there. Well, I'm gonna probably have to look at that from a recorded game. Yep, that was probably a pretty good shot in there. You're gonna see in some highlights, I guess. Okay, that was a nice game. Let's check the achievements, and deserved victory for the Czech team, as this was really well played, and Twin Paddles seems to be a good game, or rather good map for them. They won against China's side in here, and against Argentina as well. Okay, so who is going to be the MVP? Error, definitely, and I think that Yannick deserves recognition as well, because of his ability to basically keep Nicov out of being significant force in this game. That's what allowed overall CZs to win. Well, otherwise probably not going to be seen all that much interesting stuff. Strong economy from Error, really. Strong game from him. Very strong indeed. So that's that, and a GG.